I would like to call to order the Public Improvement Commission hearings of the City of Boston. Today is November 18, 2021. Mr. Liming, if you could do a roll call for me, please.
Certainly. Member of the Public Works Department,
Farah Jaisinghan,
Transportation Department,
Amy Cordy,
Inspectional Services,
Brian Ronan,
Water and Sewer Commission,
Denise Devlin,
Disabilities Commission,
Sarah Leong.
and Property Management Department.
Greg Rooney,
Thank you. All present.
thank you. First order of business, approval of the hearing minutes. At the request of the Public Improvement Commission staff, the acceptance of the minutes of the PIC hearings held on November 4th, 2021.
I'll make a motion to accept the hearing minutes of November 4th, 2021.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. First item under our hearings segment, the utility pole hearings. Item number 1, on a joint petition by Eversource Energy and Verizon New England Inc. for a pole installation within Washington Street, a public way, West Roxbury, to install one new utility pole to be located on its northwesterly side at address number 4925 northeast of Willett Street. Good morning.
Good morning. This is Phyllis Galloway. I'm a right-of-way agent at Eversource.
Good morning, Phyllis. We can hear you.
Oh, great. So today we're requesting to install a brand new pole on Washington Street, as you just said, on the northwesterly northeasterly of Willett Street. Install the pole 1373 over 95B, approximately 16 feet east of the existing pole 1373 over 96A, and approximately 93 feet west of existing pole 1373 over 95A. And this work is necessary to provide electric service to the new development on Willett Street.
Thank you, Ms. Galloway. Ms. Galloway, could you share your screen with us, because we do need to see the plans. And if you have challenges, Mr. Liming can help you or share his screen with us.
Okay, I shared my screen. So I'm covering Katie. So what's the procedure next? What do you need to see?
We need to see the plans which you were speaking to.
Okay.
I'm happy to assist if you're having tech issues, Phyllis.
Okay. Okay, so they're in my email, and I'm trying to share them via my email.
Todd, we see your screen sharing, but I don't think, okay, excellent. Ms. Galloway, do you see what is on the screen now? Ms. Galloway, can you hear us?
Yes, I can now. Yes.
Do you see the screen that shows the plans as presented by Eversource through the PIC staff?
Yes, I do.
Can you attest to the accuracy or the representation of what we are seeing on this screen?
Sorry about that.
That's okay. can you attest to the fact that what we are seeing on the screen is the plans which you are you're proposing to convey to us?
If I can get back to it, let's see.
We are seeing your screen now, Phyllis, just so you're aware.
Okay, thank you. I don't see it.
Ms. Galloway, with your permission, why don't we work with Mr. Liming's sharing of the plans which you sent to PIC staff? That might expedite this.
Okay, yeah, that would be great. I
Thank you,
appreciate
Ms.
that.
Ms. Galloway. Mr. Liming, if you could revert back to sharing your screen. Thank you. At this point, are there any questions or concerns by fellow commission members regarding this petition?
Oh, yes, good morning, Ms. Galloway. This is Denise Devlin from Boston Water and Sewer. This is just an FYI. We have a water main in the sidewalk there.
Yes.
If you can just take precaution when you're digging, that would be great.
Okay,
you.
thank you. I'll write that down, thank you.
Thank you, Denise. Any further comments or questions by fellow commission members? Hearing none, any comments by PIC staff as to this petition? Do we have your approval?
Yes, we're all set with this.
Thank you. Any comments by members of today's audience?
I see none.
Hearing none, I'd like to hear a motion regarding this whole hearing.
I'll make a motion to approve a joint petition by Eversource Energy and Verizon New England for a pole installation on Washington Street as read into the record by the chair.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstain? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you. Moving on to the public hearing continued segment of our agenda. Item number 1. On a petition by L3149 Newbury Street LLC for the making of specific repairs within the following public ways in Boston proper, consisting of curb realignment, sidewalk reconstruction, as well as new and relocated pedestrian ramps, street lighting infrastructure, traffic signal infrastructure, storm drain infrastructure, street trees, bike racks, and the removal of 2 driveway curb cuts. Newbury Street on its northerly side at address number 149 west of Dartmouth Street, Dartmouth Street on its westerly side north of Newbury Street. This was brought under new business on October 21st of this year. The first public hearing was on November 4th of this year, all shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department Engineering Division Specific Repair Plans 149 Newbury Street, that way 2 sheets dated November 3rd, 2021. Good morning.
Good morning, Rick Latini with Howard Stein Hudson, and I'm here this morning with Whitney Robinette, who represents the owner, L3149 Newbury ST, in their legal counsel, Dennis Quilty from McDermott, Quilty and Miller. I'm going to share my screen here. As was read in, we were here for our first public hearing on November 4th to get specific repairs, which consisted of a sidewalk widening and bike share station. At that meeting, we were continued because we were requested by the commission to get more information on structures on the corners opposite of our project site, which is off in the northwesterly corner. We are proposing to reconstruct all the curb ramps in the intersection. So Howard Stein Hudson went out last week to locate street hardware, and it has been shown on the plan that's before you now, and we have also shown the disposition of anything that conflicts with the ramps. As you might have guessed, most of that consists of traffic signals and pedestrian signals that have to be relocated to work with the new ramp locations. And there were a couple streetlights that we wanted to move, and we did bring that to street lighting, and they just asked that we align the ones on the easterly leg here. Those are the ones that had to be moved based on our measurements out in the field. So we did circulate this plan to some of the city agencies, and we've gotten general acceptance from the Disabilities Commission as well as the Boston Transportation Department. This is all subject to, of course, traffic signal plan approval through BTD, so we'll continue to work with city agencies through that process as well. And lastly, we submitted a draft license, maintenance, and indemnification agreement to PIC's legal counsel yesterday. I think that's all we had. It was mostly just to, I believe it was Commissioner Cording just wanted to double check there was no major infrastructure conflicts with the pedestrian ramps. Happy to take questions from the commissioner or public at this time.
Thank you, Rick. I'll open it up for questions by fellow commission members.
No, thanks. We were just worried about moving all the ped signals on the corner, but Rick is working with Don, and we think it's plausible, but the plan can come after this vote.
Thank you, Amy. Sarah, are you all okay with this?
Yes, I also want to thank the proponent for working with my staff as well as BTD and BPDA staff to come to a solution that works for everyone, and we support this design.
Thank you, Sarah. Any further comments or questions by fellow commission members?
Oh, yes. Hi, Rick. I just wanted to let you know I received your email that you'll coordinate any changes with the site plan, in regards to the site plan with the Engineer and Customer Services Department. So thank you.
Yep, sure. If there's anyone else I need to coordinate with, just let me know.
Thank you, Rick. At this point, turn it over to, are there any comments by PIC staff or members of today's audience?
No, none.
Again, Rick, thank you so much for the hard work which you did to bring everything together. My compliments to you, the petitioner, and Mr. Quilty. Denise, it is good to see you. At this point, I'll entertain a motion.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Thank you, Denise. I'd like to hear a motion regarding this item.
I'll make a motion to approve a petition by L3149 Newberry Street LLC for the making of specific repairs in Newberry Street and Dartmouth Street, as read into the record by the chair, subject to the approval of the traffic signal plan.
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstain? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Moving on to the public hearing segment of our agenda, item number 1, on a joint petition by the City of Boston Public Facilities Department and Boston Public Schools for the making of specific repairs within Ipswich Street, Public Way, Boston proper, located at address number 174, generally across from Van Ness Street, consisting of roadway curb and sidewalk reconstruction, as well as new and relocated pedestrian ramps, streetlight infrastructure, storm drain infrastructure, driveway curb cuts, and public art. This was brought under new business on November 4th of this year, as shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Specific Repair Plan, 174 Ipswich Street, Public Way, Boston, one sheet dated July 2021. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Commissioners, and thank you. I'm Jim McQueen, Senior Project Manager for the Public Facilities Department, and I'm joined today by Deborah Danik, Vice President with Niche Associates, and Sarah Rodrigo, Senior Public Art Project Manager with the Mayor's Office of Arts and Culture. The work at 174 Ipswich Street that we're viewing today is in support of the construction of the new home for the Boston Arts Academy. The Boston Arts Academy is the city's only public high school for the visual and performing arts. They offer access to a college preparatory arts and academic education, to a diverse student body of 480 students in grades 9 through 12. The BAA offers programs in dance, music, theater, design, and visual communication and fashion technology, supported by strong academic and STEAM programs. The project is now about 75% through construction, with substantial completion scheduled for April of 2022. Recently, they began work on the site walls and placing curb to form the previously approved sidewalk configurations. The school plans to be fully opened and occupied for the start of the school year next September. We are coming before you today to address a previously approved specific repairs plan to reflect changes that have occurred over the last several years. And I will let Deb Danick from Niche Associates present the details of the request.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim. Again, my name is Deb Danick. I'm a project manager and engineer with Niche Engineering. As Jim mentioned, we previously had the proposed specific repairs for Ipswich Street approved in 2018 by the commission. I'm going to zoom out. This is the beautiful building that will be built. It's now at 75%. And this is the sculpture at the corner at the bend of Ipswich Street that Jim was talking about. I'm just going to do a quick zoom out to show everyone where we are. The Boston Arts Academy is located on Ipswich Street, right across from Fenway Park. Ipswich Street actually curls around the building, as you'll see as we show the site plan. But ultimately, in 2018, we had approvals for the changes in the sidewalk, which include the bump outs, parking areas, street trees, furnishings in the tree zone, pervious pavers, as well as some other pavement changes. And the street changes associated with that for the infrastructure, including some to catch basins, street lighting, and then we also had a flagpole installed. At that point, the sculpture was in process in deciding whether or not it would be put in there. So now we're at the point where we're coming back to not only talk about the sculpture, what it looks like on the sidewalk, but as well as catch up that 2018 PIC plan for some of the other changes that have been approved by the PIC since then, and either have been installed or will be installed as part of the neighborhood improvements along this stretch. Here's just another view if you're basically standing and looking north towards Fenway Park. So this is our specific repairs plan. As we presented last hearing, you can see here some of the portions are a little darker than others. Those are the places that have changed. In order to catch up the plan to what is happening in the neighborhood, there's been a change to the parking lot over here in the driveway orientation. It's already been constructed, so we've just matched our plan to show that. There was previously proposed in Tacoma Hotel on the site south of the Boston Arts Academy, which reconfigured a bit the driveway entrance to this private alley. Same over on this other side of the private alley. Some of the work happening at Fenway has worked to bump out the curb to match in line with the approved 2018 curb line. So we've modified this driveway entrance. And then we also had a bit of a modification in coordination with the Fenway Park project for the pedestrian crossing and how it worked here. Another change you'll see infrastructure-wise is we've coordinated with street lighting to update their design to install an additional street light along this section of Ipswich Street to provide more lighting in this area. Specific to the sculpture, we have proposed the sculpture at this corner at the bump out. We've coordinated that the sculpture has a minimum of 5 foot clear on the front between the bollards that line at the back of the curb. And then from the sculpture back to the building is well over 5 feet. It's closer to 10 feet clear. So pedestrians can get all around that sculpture. The other thing I talked about was a flagpole that's got shifted over. We're also providing electrical feeds to both the flagpole and the sculpture so that they can be lit at night. With that, that summarizes the major changes shown on this plan, and I'd love to hear any comments or questions that people may have.
Thank you, Deborah. At this point, I'd like to see whether there are any concerns or comments by fellow commission members first.
Oh, yes, good morning, Deb. Just a general comment. If there's anything, I did notice that you updated the site, you submitted for an update for a site plan recently. If there's anything that's on this plan that's not on the site plan, we just have to have it updated on the site plan as well.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further comments by fellow commission members? Hearing none. Deborah, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
The segment of Ipswich Street that goes east-west or in that segment, is that a two-way street or a one-way street?
It's a two-way street. This
Okay.
actually, yeah, yeah, we're working closely with BTD to kind of reallocate the lane usage through there. It's a pretty wide two-way street. So there's going to be, by the time the project's done, there'll be parking, bike lanes, 2 lanes of travel, and, you know, parking the bike lanes on both sides.
So because it is a two-way street, my only question is towards the location of the handicap ramp on the northern side, that one. Okay, so I'm going to assume the stop bar is going to be before the ramp, and I'm wondering whether there's enough sight distance to look at the traffic that is coming from the other side of Ipswich Street, or whether that ramp should be slid a little bit to the left. Again, your judgment, and I'll stand by it. Just a question, I should have thought this thing earlier.
Yes, thank you. So Van Ness Street is a one-way street coming towards the site, and traffic that comes through here, we will double check that site distance exists. Unfortunately, this is the spot that the ramp fits in order to work with the building that is there, but we'll talk to our traffic engineer and double check on that.
Because at least on the surface, on the plan, it seems like there should be adequate space for that ramp. If it is to be slid towards the left, again, I'll leave it up to you to make that adjustment if
We
needed.
have the gate for Fenway and the bollards there, Para.
Oh, you can't get there. That explains it. Thank you.
Hey, you're welcome.
So there were no further comments by PSC staff and or members of today's audience.
No, all set.
Thank you. At this point, I'd like to hear a motion regarding public hearing number 1.
I'll make a motion on a joint petition, or to approve a joint petition of the cities of Boston's Public Facilities Department and the Boston Public Schools for the making of specific repairs at Ipswich Street as read into the record by the chair.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed or abstain? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you, Deborah.
Thank you.
Jim.
Thank you.
Next item, public hearing number 2, on a petition by the City of Boston Parks and Recreation Department for the widening and relocation of the existing right-of-way lines on Springdale Street, a private way over to public travel in Dorchester, located on its southwesterly side between Playstate Road and Denise Street. This was brought under new business on November 4th of this year, as shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department Engineering Division Widening and Relocation Plan, Springdale Street, private way over to public travel, Dorchester, one sheet dated November 2021. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Kathy Baker Eclipse. I'm the project manager for McConnell Playground Park that is on Dorchester Bay in Savin Hill neighborhood. We're proposing to widen and relocate the private way of Springdale Street and also make some improvements to benefit the public access to the park, McConnell Park and Savin Hill, Malibu Beach that is owned by DCR along Springdale Road and as it connects to Playsted and Denny Street. I'm going to turn it over to our consultants, Weston and Sampson, to walk through the plan in specifics.
Thank you, Kathy.
Great, thank you, Kathy. As Kathy mentioned, we're looking to make a designated road connecting Playsted Road and Denny Street. Currently, it is all one large area of pavement. It's very unclear on how cars and emergency vehicles can circulate between the 2 public streets. This is on park property, and we're looking to formalize that to make it safer. And it's also assisting in our climate resilience and protecting of the few low-lying properties that are adjacent to the parking lot itself. Next slide. You can see here the red is what we're anticipating is it is the existing right-of-way. And you can see that we're looking to realign, which is the blue curb, and formalize the connection from Playstead to Denny and formalize the parking lot with some curbs. We will be providing a 7-foot sidewalk on the park side of the street, as well as ADA ramps and an accessible route as you move from Playstead to Denny. That is on the south side of the parking lot. Next slide.
Actually, that's it for the widening relocation.
The last time we did meet, there were some comments we received after the initial hearing regarding the removal of a gate at the Paper Street, right there where her cursor is. We will be removing that as part of this application, and we are going to be realigning a curb ramp. We'll be turning it to an apex curb ramp at the request of a few folks as well. And the other comment was to improve the existing ramp that is there. Currently, that ramp does meet ADA compliance. We aren't expecting to touch it, and therefore we are hoping that we can keep it untouched at this point in time. There's an existing ramp there currently.
Thank you, Brandon. Kathy, since this is a public hearing, can you add a couple of sentences regarding the outreach and or concurrence by the abutters that are on the opposite side of your park, since this is a private way?
Yeah, so we had several community meetings as part of our design process for the park, which is typical. And specifically, I've met several times throughout the design process with the immediate abutters on Springdale Street, the one at the corner of Playstead and Springdale and 44 Springdale, and they understand the changes that we are making, and we have worked closely with them to provide a condition that they can, that they are happy with, and that satisfies all of their needs in terms of privacy and protection, and accommodating their existing curb cuts.
Thank you so much, Kathy. At this point, I open it up for comments or concerns by fellow commission members. Hearing none. Any comments or concerns by PIC staff or members of today's audience?
No, the one thing that I will mention is that we do have a couple comments on the written legal description, the meets and bounds, but I'll coordinate that with Kathy and Weston and Sampson after the fact.
Thank you, Todd. At this point, I'd like to hear a motion regarding public hearing number 2.
I'll make a motion to approve a petition by the City of Boston Parks and Recreation Department for the widening and relocation of Springdale Street as read into the record by the chair.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstain? Hearing none, motion passes. Public hearing number 3 on a petition by City of Boston Parks and Recreation Department for the making of specific repairs within the following roadways in Dorchester, consisting of curb realignment, roadway and sidewalk reconstruction, as well as new and relocated pedestrian ramps, street trees, street light infrastructure, storm drain infrastructure, fencing, and driveway curb cuts. Springdale Street, a private way that's open to public travel, from Denise Street to a point northwest of Playstead Road. Playstead Road, a public way generally at Springdale Street. Denise Street, a public way generally at Springdale Street. This was brought on a new business on November 4th of this year, as shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Specific Repair Plan, Playstead Road, Dennis Street, Springdale Street, Dorchester, 5 sheets dated November 2021. Kathy?
Yeah, so I think this is the specific repairs plan that goes along with the widening, addressing the curb cut that Brandon previously addressed, and the widening of the sidewalk on, or installation of the sidewalk on the south side of the Springdale Street and the reciprocal ramps associated with that.
Thank you, Kathy. Any questions by fellow commission members?
Oh, yes,
Sorry.
go ahead.
Thank you, Denise. Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah Leung from the City of Boston's Disabilities Commission. I wanted to thank the team for working with us throughout the design process. I just wanted to confirm that the crossing at the top of the page that was alluded to in the previous action, that reciprocal ramp is compliant and has a detectable warning, a tactile panel, and as well at the bottom of the page where the crossing was turned into an apex ramp, that apex ramp meets all the exceptions listed in 521 CMR for the installation of an apex ramp. And we just like to confirm those two items.
Yes, there is an existing ramp on at the corner of Springdale and Placestead that does meet the existing, the ADA requirements, and the apex ramp will meet all of the requirements of and exceptions of CMR 521.
Fantastic, thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. Denise?
Oh, yes, thank you. Just a quick comment. Thank you for addressing our comments about the existing sewer manholes need to be raised to the proposed finished grade. But we did have an additional comment. We just want to make sure that the one in the rain garden, the finished elevation is of the one of the parking lot, so it's not leaking through the parking lot.
Yeah, and that's on that's not in the right of way. It's in the park. It's outside the widening limit. But Brandon, can you speak to the elevation of the two?
Yeah, it will. It's set just below the elevation of the pavement, I believe. If not, we'll make sure it is set below the elevation of the pavement.
Okay.
I don't know the exact elevation off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
Okay, then, yeah, maybe, this isn't, I don't want to hold up the petition, but maybe we can talk about that then after the meeting, if that works out okay for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Denise. Thank you, Brandon. Any further comments by fellow commission members? Hearing none, are there any comments by PIC staff and or members of today's audience?
No, none.
Thank you. Again, Kathy, vote of appreciation and thanks for your leadership of this very important and basic and exciting project. So thank you, Kathy. I'd like to hear a motion regarding public hearing number 3.
Make a motion to approve a petition by the City of Boston Parks and Recreation Department for the making of specific repairs within Springdale Street, Placestead Road, and Denny Street, as read into the record by the chair.
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you, Kathy. Fourth item on agenda, on a petition by 280 through 220 Old Colony Ave LLC for the acceptance of a pedestrian easement adjacent to the following public ways in South Boston. Old Colony Avenue on its northeasterly side at address numbers 218 through 220 northwest of Custine Street. Custine Street on its northwesterly side northeast of Old Colony Avenue. This was brought under new business on November 4th of this year as shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Pedestrian Easement Plan, 220 Old Colony Avenue and Custine Street, Public Way, South Boston, one sheet dated September 24th of this year. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. My name is Damon Carthy. I'm the builder for the property owner. Our attorney, George Moranci, couldn't be here today. We had a prior engagement. This matter was here 2 weeks ago. as new business, Mr. Chan has submitted a petition for the pedestrian easement along Old Colony Ave and Gustin Street, both public ways in South Boston. He has also submitted a petition for specific repairs on the same two streets. The purpose of the pedestrian easement is to allow for sidewalk widening along the site of the new approved mixed-use building. The specific repairs are detailed in the petition and on the plan presented 2 weeks ago. The only comment at the new business hearing was whether the Disabilities Commission had reviewed our plans. Our attorney sent to Amy Cording an email exchange with Sarah Luan indicating that all accessibility issues were satisfactorily resolved. Thank you.
If I may ask you to share your screen so we can actually see the plans, since this is the public hearing, do you have the capacity to do that?
I actually don't. I didn't know that I had to share them today, to be honest. I'm just filling in for George. He had to do some medical thing today, unfortunately.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Limey, can you pitch it for the petitioner?
Certainly. One moment.
Thank you.
Todd, these are the easement plans.
Yes.
Wonderful. So if you could attest to the fact that these are the plans which is to be seen by the commission today?
They are the plan, yes.
Thank you. At this point, I'd like to ask if there are any questions by fellow commission members regarding this petition. Hearing none. Any comments or concerns by PIC staff and or members of today's audience?
No, we're all set with this action.
Thank you, Todd. I'd like to hear a motion regarding public hearing number 4.
I'll make a motion to approve a petition by 218 to 220 Old Colony Avenue LLC for the acceptance of a pedestrian easement in Old Colony Avenue and Gustin Street as read into the record by the chair.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Public hearing number 5.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Okay, great. On a petition by 218 through 220 Old Colony Avenue, LLC, for the making of specific repairs within the following public ways in South Boston, consisting of curb realignment, roadway and sidewalk reconstruction, as well as new and relocated pedestrian ramps, street trees, street light infrastructure, storm drain infrastructure, and driveway curb cuts. Old Colony Avenue on its northeasterly side at address number 280 through 220 northwest of Gustin Street, northeast of Old Colony Avenue. This is brought under new business on November 4th of this year, as shown on a plan entitled City of Boston, Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Specific Repair Plan, 220 Old Colony Avenue and Gustin Street, Public Works, Boston, one sheet, dated October 14th of 2021. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please continue.
Okay. So this is the same. Do I have to read out the same thing again?
Yes, as this is a public hearing related to the
Yep.
specific repairs, you can take it at the highest level.
Okay, good morning, Chairman. My name is Damien. I'm representing Singman Chan, the developer. This matter came up 2 weeks ago, and we'd also submitted a petition for specific repairs in the same two streets. The purpose of the pedestrian easement is to allow for sidewalk widening of the approved mixed-use building. And the specific repair plans is detailed in the petition and on the plan presented 2 weeks ago, and will provide numerous site enhancements. And the only comment again was whether disabilities had reviewed the plans, and our attorney sent to Amy Cording an email exchange with Sarah Luan indicating that all accessibility issues were satisfactorily resolved. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any comments or concerns by fellow commission members?
Oh, yes, good morning. This is Denise Devlin from Boston Water and Sewer. Just had a quick comment. A lot of the electric stuff was new, and I don't believe it was included on the site plan. If it's not, could you submit a new site plan with that stuff on there? Just an updated one, so we have it on file. And also, so there's some of those electric lines, they're actually, one of them was close to one of our drain structures, so we don't want that. We don't want it too close to the drain structure there.
All right, I'm just taking notes that it's not too close. Okay, I'll provide these updates and I'll get them over here. Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Denise.
Denise. Any further comments by fellow commission members?
Yes, I think a comment did come up between the 2 weeks while reviewing internally. We just like clarification on the start and end of the raised roadway, and just clarification on where on the street that happens and whether or not the pedestrian ramps would be included to create a raised crossing at the intersection of Old Colony and Guston.
Okay, so do you need me to clarify that on the plans?
Yes, just to clarify the start of where what's level with the sidewalk and what's at the roadway level.
Yeah.
I believe the intention is for that crossing to be raised to sidewalk level. I'll be sure that the final Mylar clearly shows that condition.
Fantastic, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I think this was at the heart of my comments too, is that if this is raised, it's showing traditional ramps. So I think understanding what the intent, what's flush and what's not flush. I get that we're depicting that these are ramps, but is there a grade change here, or is this continuous sidewalk on Old Colony and then again across Guston, and then the transition down? I think that all of that should be pretty clear as to where we transition back to curved, but specifically what happens, right? The tactile should be there for these crossings, but are these ramps or are these just raised crossings?
Okay. Yeah, no, I understand. I'll make sure that my surveyor or my engineer gets this drawn up and specifies everything. And the different grades and whatnot.
Thank you. Any further comments by fellow commission members? Hearing none. Any comments by PIC staff and or members of today's audience?
The one thing that I will mention is the street trees that you see on Old Colony Ave, those were added to these plans since the last hearing. It does look like the proposed street lighting conduit may run through a portion of those pits, so we'll just need to make sure that those lines are shown in the correct location.
So in summary, Mr. Lining, I believe there are few clarifications and or updates that are needed on these plans. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so if whoever is making a motion, if you can reflect the motion to account for the changes that are needed. At this point, I'd like to hear a motion regarding public hearing number 5.
I'll make a motion to approve a petition by 218-220 Old Colony Avenue LLC for the making of specific repairs in Old Colony Avenue and Guston Street, contingent upon the clarification about the raised crossings both at Old Colony Ave and Guston Street, and the modification of the street lighting conduit to not conflict with the street trees.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Anyone opposed or abstain? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
6th item on our agenda, on a petition by 77 Chestnut Realty Trust for the making of specific repairs within Chestnut Street, a public way, Boston proper, located on its northwesterly side at address number 77, generally between River Street and River Street, consisting of sidewalk, specialty paver and driveway curb cut reconstruction, as well as new stormwater recharge infrastructure. This was brought under new business on November 4th of this year, as shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Specific Repair Plan, Chestnut Street, 77 Chestnut Street, Beacon Hill, one sheet dated September 23rd of 2021. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Bob Messenger from Howard Stein Hudson. I'm representing the 77 Chestnut Street project here. And as you mentioned, we're petitioning for specific repairs of groundwater recharge well and sidewalk reconstruction associated with that. This project's in the Beacon Hill, and it's a single-family renovation. That's a 4-story building. Through Boston Water and Sewer permitting, we weren't able to do recharge on site, so we had to do a recharge well in the public way. This has been approved through them, and this recharge well will be in the furnishing zone of the building, or of the public way, excuse me, and out of the main pedestrian path to travel. And any brick sidewalk that is disturbed by construction activities will be replaced with city standard wired cut brick. And at our new business hearing, we were able to get some helpful feedback from Rob Whitney from the Beacon Hill Civic Association. First, our recharge well, we were able to reduce the size from 10 inches to 8 inches. So we're able to save some space there. And he also was helpful in advising us the exact dimensions of the brick that we should, in the type of brick that we should be using in this area. So we were able to update our plans with the detail there. So we're better fitting the area that it's in. Additionally, so this project has submitted to the Beacon Hill Architectural Commission for these specific changes, this injection well and the sidewalk reconstruction. That hearing is not until December 16th. So we respectfully ask the commission if they could approve these specific repairs contingent on that hearing. But I'm happy to receive any other feedback or comments.
Thank you. At this point, I'd like to get any concerns or comments by fellow commission members. Hearing none. Amy, do you have a concern about whatever the volume of traffic that might be going through that curb cut? I'm going to assume it must be a driveway to inside the building and the tire tracks over the recharge well.
I don't think that there's a high volume of vehicles going in here, but yeah, no, at 8 inches, it'll be all right.
It's not going to get, because I'm trying to see if it gets dislodged, who is responsible for changing the cover of the recharge well? Todd, is it the petitioner? Like, who is maintaining the recharge well?
Yes, the petitioner will be responsible for maintaining the recharge well as the granite cobbles that are being reset here, and that will all be covered under a standard LMI.
Thank you, Todd. Thank you for that clarification. Any comments or concerns by fellow, PIC staff or members of today's audience?
No, I will mention that the petitioner has had extensive outreach with the Beacon Hill Civic Association and Rob Whitney in particular, and Rob seems to be on board with everything happening here.
Thank you, Mr. Liming. At this point, I'd like to get a motion regarding public hearing number 6.
I'll make a motion to approve a petition by 77 Chestnut Realty Trust for the making of specific repairs within Chestnut Street as read into the record by the chair, is contingent upon any other hearings related to this item.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstain? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 7, on a petition by TC Systems Inc. for a grant of location with lead company status and no participants to install new telecommunication conduits with city shadow within the following public ways in Boston proper: Commonwealth Avenue, generally at address number 771 east of University Road, between Commonwealth Avenue and Stoller Drive. This is brought under new business on November 4th of this year, as shown on a set of flags entitled City of Boston, Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Grant of Location Plan, proposed lateral conduit placement 771 Commonwealth Avenue to Stoller Drive, City of Boston, 3 sheets dated September 17th of 2021. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. Like Para said, TC Systems is petitioning as lead company with no participants to install telecommunications conduit and 2 new manholes on University Road and Commonwealth Ave. This work is to provide service to customers in the area. Brief overview of the project. This conduit starts on DCR property and then makes its way down University Road, where we have the first of 2 manholes here. The conduit continues down University Road over here, and then makes a turn onto Commonwealth Ave. And then finally, we are going to be breaking into a Verizon manhole, and we have received permission from them to do that. During the new business hearing, we did have a few comments, which we have addressed. Boston University, we are working closely with them to ensure that we don't disturb any of their facilities. So we have been in touch with them and they are aware of the work. Another comment we received was that the manhole cover shouldn't be in the bike lane. So we actually didn't have the space required for the manhole where it previously was located up here. So we moved it between these 2 duct banks down here, which did alter the running line. So we'll have to get Boston Water and Sewer approval on this new running line. We also added a few notes over here that the contractor shall repave the entire bike lane from University Road to the Verizon manhole we're breaking into. Inside the floating bus stop here, this will be curb-to-curb paving for the entire length. And the contractor shall restore all paint markouts in kind per City of Boston standards. If there are any further questions or comments, I'd be willing to take them now.
Thank you, Tom. Questions by fellow commission members? Hearing none. Comments by PSC staff and or members of today's audience?
No, none.
Thank you. At this point, I'd like to hear a motion regarding public hearing number 7.
I'll make a motion to approve a petition by TC Systems, Inc. for a grant of location in Commonwealth Avenue and University Road as read into the record by the chair.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstain? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you very much.
Moving on to the new business segment of our agenda today. First item, West Main Street, Goldfinch Court, Finch Street, Walkway, West Roxbury, specific repairs, layout approvals. On a set of joint petition by OG West Campus Land LLC and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Division of Capital Asset Management and Maintenance. Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman and members of the Commission. This is Eric Van Dusen, Senior Vice President, New Boston Fund, and on behalf of our joint venture with our community partner, Lena Park CDC, Lena New Boston is pleased to be here this morning to present our latest plans for the continued development of the mixed income housing of our Olmsted Green community in Mattapan. Before I turn the presentation over to our specific presentation on our new business request that Mark Jungrens of VHB will present, I thought I'd provide a brief overview of our master plan and putting in context what we're doing out there. As some of the commissioners may know and many of the staff know, this has been an ongoing project for over 15 years, so we're getting near the end, I'm happy to say, but I want to share our screen, so let me try to do that here.
Thank you, Eric.
I'm sorry, I wasn't on in the beginning, but let me get this on there for everybody to take a look at. Does everyone see the colorful screen?
Yes, we can. You're good.
Okay, just to quickly put this in context, as I said, this is part of an overall master plan out at Olmsted Green in Mattapan and Dorchester. What's on the screen is our 24-acre west campus. We have an east campus on the other side of Morton Street, which is to the right of this page. That's a 14-acre campus that is fully developed, has the Brook Charter School campus, and has over 160 units of affordable housing, including 59 units with Hearth along American Legion. So that is not a subject put it in context, again, this is in total a 38-acre development, and when we're completed, it will represent 500 units of mixed-income housing servicing the needs of both low, moderate workforce and market-rate families. Again, this is our west campus. The shaded coloring represents the two types of housing we have. We have the brown, this is West Main Street off of Morton Street that snakes through the site, sort of bifurcates the site, with the lower section all being rental housing that we've now completed. It represents approximately 200 units of housing units related to rental, again, mixed income, servicing all needs of the community. And then to the north of West Main Street, between us and our neighbors to the north, which is the Boston Nature Center, Massachusetts Audubon, represents our home ownership project. We have 60 units created to date that we've come before the commission in creating new roads in these homes here. To the right of the page, and then we have a wetlands area in between. And now the subject of this request is laying out the new roads to service 20 buildings that will make up our 80-unit mixed income home ownership project here on the northwest side of our site. There will be 3 new roads that Mark will walk you through, which are Goldfinch Court, Finch Street, and Warbler Way, all in deference to our neighbors at Mass Audubon. We have many bird names out at Olmsted, and these will all be private ways open to public travel. And we also will make some improvements to our West Main Street, which is one of our 2 main streets. West Main goes all the way through the site, and Deering Road connects to West Main and takes us out to Harvard Street, which is the main public street to the south. And both West Main and Deering, upon the completion of this project, which is this is the last housing phase and last piece on this west campus, will be have been completed to the city standards and will be turned over to the city as public ways. So I think that's the brief overview. I wanted to thank again the committee for having us, the commission for having us before you, and happy to answer any big picture questions. Otherwise, I'll turn it over to Mark to walk you through the specifics of the new roads and the improvements we're planning to do as we go forward with our last housing project here.
Thank you, Eric. Mark, you can take it from there.
Okay, well, I'm going to walk through quickly the design of 3 streets that are proposed. I'm going to change the order a little bit than what we had there because I want to work from left to right so we keep ourselves organized. Let me start sharing my screen. Okay, let me know if you can see that. Hopefully it's a nice full screen plan.
Yes, Mark, you are good. Go for it.
Excellent. Okay, so this is Warbler Way. This is the road all the way to the west. It's a private road open to public travel. New residential or home ownership buildings will be fronting right on this building, on this roadway. West Main Street, which is a public street that was laid out a couple of years ago, is right here, and then this extends up to the intersection with Finch Street. So Warbler Way is 47-foot wide right-of-way with 10-foot lanes, 8-foot parking lanes, and 5.5-foot sidewalks. This roadway, along with all the other roadways, has been extensively coordinated with DCAM, of course, with the Disabilities Commission, with BTD, lighting and parks on the design of the roadway. Actually, Parks and Disabilities and BTD both had a lot of comments in shaping the roads. We changed sort of our pedestrian access formula on this road in response to disabilities comments and questions. But it's reasonably straightforward. They all follow the same general formula of 10-foot lanes, 8-foot parking lanes, and 5.5-foot sidewalks. And this is following the model that's been set on this project to date in the West Campus. We circulated these drawings probably a year ago, and just been trying to get some things lined up to get here at this point in time. So here we are.
Mark, just a quick comment before the rest of the commission members chime in. Any reason why the sidewalks are only 5.5 feet or 5 feet wide versus our standard 7-foot sidewalks?
We don't expect this to be like a downtown high volume sidewalk. It's really just serving the homes that are on the roadway. And it's consistent with what we've done before here.
Okay, just trying to be mindful. Mr. Van Dusen, sorry, Eric.
Yes.
Do you envision a point in time in the future where the city will be petitioned to change these private ways to public streets?
No, they're going to be, they're built, as our commission knows, related to Boston Water and Sewer. These are permeable pavement as part of the overall stormwater management for the site, and have been designed, so I don't think they could easily be turned over. There's no intent to convert any of our private ways open to public travel over to city streets. I think the main streets of West Main and Deering, obviously, but not the others.
Thank you, Eric, for that point of clarification.
Sure.
This project really pioneered a lot of permeable pavement long before it was a thing. What, 15 years ago, Eric?
Who's counting? But yeah, it's been a long time.
And we've been able to show over time that we're able to maintain them and keep them operating, and that they're a very viable green technology. So that's just something that they've been doing for a while, and it's really worked out well. And in this setting, it meets the demand, that's for sure. Okay.
Thank you, Mark. And as a new business hearing, obviously, fellow commission members, please come forth with your questions at any time. Mark, I'm sure you are okay with you being interrupted, as I always do.
That's fine. I'll take a pause here if anyone wants to ask questions, because I think the questions will be somewhat common for the other two.
Continue, Mark.
Okay. The next one is Finch Street. Once again, here's Warbler Way here. So working our way from Warbler Way to Finch Street, and Finch Street also connects to West Main Street, so West Main Street continues through here. Once again, parking on the street, conforming to city layout guidelines and complete street standards, 8-foot parking lanes, 10-foot drive lanes, and once again, a lot of input from BTD, disabilities, and public works on the layout of these streets, and kind of getting to that endpoint where we are now. And once again, private street open to public travel with permeable pavement. We also spent a lot of time with the city lighting department, making sure that everything we're doing was lined up with what they want.
Again, Mark, I know this is such an exciting project. Eric, you all have been engaged for quite some time now. Again, as this is a public hearing for point of continuity, last year before, the entities that plowed the snow through the network of private streets, was it a private company or was it the city that came and plowed the snows for snow clearance?
Yeah, no, at this point, given none of the streets, the two main streets of West Main and Deering haven't been turned over. Everything on the campus, on this campus, has been privately done. We have a master association that's responsible for clearing the main streets, and then the individual private ways open to public travel, or I'll call them our bird streets, all get plowed by the individual projects or properties that we've created here. This property would be one of those. So these three private ways would be privately through a homeowners association, managed and cared for and maintained, including plowing.
Thank you, Eric. And the only reason I'm adding these sort of comments to these hearings is, as you can imagine, over a 10-year period, there may be some staff changeover within City Hall and all those who are listening on these hearings. Just want to make sure that we are all on the same page. So thank you, Eric, for that point of amplification.
Sure, anytime.
Thanks. Mark, can we continue?
Yeah. And we're getting close to the point where we're going to come and ask for the main streets to be accepted as we move toward completion. So that's pretty exciting. Next after Finch Street is Goldfinch Court, yet another Finch. And this is a two-parter. This is the first section here. Once again, moving to the east, we've got Finch Street here, if you can see in the upper right-hand corner, and then Goldfinch is the next loop here. Once again, a housing loop. The sidewalks and parking and access are generally just for the homes that are on Goldfinch Court. So it's a reasonably low level of activity anticipated. Once again, 10-foot lanes, 5.5-foot sidewalks, 8-foot parking lanes. And, we've been able to keep all the grading. It's not like we're working through a hill here. Actually, we've got in all three of these locations, we've got very gentle grades, and we've been able to work with the land on the drainage side of things and provide infiltration and offset from, there's actually wetland areas off-site, which we've been to the Conservation Commission and sought and received approval for all the work that we're doing. So, in the end, it's a safe and stable condition, and the drainage in this section is the last section for this site, and we've been working through it, designing ahead of ourselves so that we're taking this area into account as we finish up the site.
Thank you, Mark. Please continue.
The next is the last section of Goldfinch Court, which ties into West Main Street and provides that last leg of parking, which is right here on this end. All under stop control. And that is it.
So that should cover the layout approvals. Anything specific about the specific repair plans?
No, I'd say they're more straightforward than most, because they're laying out new streets and they're not cutting through the urban fabric like we usually do.
Okay. All right. Any comments by fellow commission members? Hearing none. Comments by PSC staff and all members of today's audience?
No, I think we're all set on this one for now.
Excellent. So Eric, Mark, we will see you in 2 weeks. That should bring us to December 2nd, if my memory serves me correct. Can you verify, Todd? That should be right, right?
Yes, December 2nd.
2nd?
Correct.
Thank you. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
New business item number 2, Renfrew Street, Roxbury, highway discontinuance on a joint petition by Nubian Assets Partners, LLC, and the Boston Planning and Development Agency. Good morning.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the Commission. My name is Michael Navaria. I'm an attorney at Rubin and Rudman. I'm joined by Beverly Johnson of Bevco Associates, Hadia Strasberg of Hareva Consulting, and Jim Comio of Bryant Engineering. I represent Nubian Ascend Partners, who is the proponent and petitioner, along with the Boston Redevelopment Authority, on the discontinuance of a road, Renfrew Street in Roxbury. So I will share my screen. Where are we? We are in the Roxbury area, right here near Nubian Station. You can see here in yellow the proposed location. My client has been granted temporary designation to develop land owned by the city of Boston on multiple parcels of land, and the proposed plan is to construct multiple buildings. The proposed project will include mixed uses, including but not limited to an affordable and market rate housing containing 17,815 square feet, an art lab studio containing 6,600 square feet, a cultural space containing 19,000 feet, a lab office and healthcare building approximately 135,000 square feet, as well as a parking garage with 300 parking spaces at 135,000 square feet. So, as you can see here, apologies, this is the proposed location of the discontinuance. Renfrew Street runs from Harrison Avenue through to Eustis Street. Everything that abuts this street is owned by the Boston Redevelopment Authority, except for this small parcel of land down here, which my client purchased in and around last month. If you look here at the proposed renderings, you can see We have an open space public area here, the cultural hall down here at number 4, and Harrison Avenue is here. So this is the old access way of Renfro Street. You might be able to see it a little better here. Harrison Avenue. These are existing homes that will remain, and this is the access way that you see right here. As I mentioned, we are part of a temporary designation. We are working together with BBDA to lift that temporary designation and hope to be under construction sometime in the end of next year. And this is one of the components of being able to do so.
Thank you, Michael. Any questions or comments by fellow commission members?
Oh, yes, good morning, Michael. This is Denise Devlin from Boston Water and Sewer. I know we've been emailing back and forth. So we currently have facilities. Our records show we have facilities on Renfrew Street. So we have no issue with you receiving the PIC approval for the discontinuance, contingent upon the condition the BWSC is satisfactory with the site plan that shows how you will abandon its facilities on Renfrew Street and where their new connections will be.
Yes, thank you. I was in contact yesterday with Robert from the legal department, and he mentioned all of those things to me, and we're happy to provide that.
Okay, and I know there was a discussion about having an easement. So we know that it seems like your intention is to abandon our facilities, which is fine. But if there are facilities that will remain, we still need an easement.
Yep, sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, thank you. Sorry about that. If your plan is to abandon our facilities first, then we wouldn't need an easement.
That is the intent. Yeah, no worries. Thank you for coordinating with us. And Robert was wonderful to jump on the call yesterday at short notice prior to this meeting. But I believe that we are discontinuing those and will not need an easement. But I'm happy to continue to coordinate with that going forward.
Okay, great. Thank you, Michael.
Michael, normal practice would be for you all to provide us an engineering report with regards to all the other private utilities that might be there. Could you add a statement as to your knowledge as to whether the city has granted any prior past easements to private utilities within Renfrew Street? Do you know anything to that effect?
I do not believe so, but Jim Comio is here. Jim, I don't know if you want to weigh in.
Sure, Michael, thank you. The only utility we suspect that is private utility currently in Renfrew Street would be owned by Verizon. It services a utility pole that is represented on this view right here. It's the pole, it would be to the west of Renfrew Street that branches all these individual overhead connections. Actually, Michael, it's kind of at the apex of Renfrew Street. Keep going in that direction. That pole right there. That is serviced by an underground conduit emanating from Eustace Street along Renfrew Street. So I suspect there's some kind of easement associated with this underground conduit owned by Verizon, or actually obtained by Verizon. So we're working with Verizon right now to represent that underground conduit. And as far as we know, that is the only private utility infrastructure in Renfrew Street.
Thank you, Mr. Como. Jim, there's a very structured process through which the PIC staff will entertain a discontinuance of any street, and part of that process is to produce an engineering report that details in very affirmative manner any and all utilities that might be impacted by prior easements and or grants of locations the PIC Commission may or may not have given in years past. So if you could close that loop and provide that information to PIC staff, that would be absolutely be helpful. Another side comment, Mr. Lining, if you could walk us through the way this discontinuance gets processed through city in terms of any fee associated with the street value?
Sure. Michael, would you like to speak to the title opinion that you submitted?
I'm sorry, I missed, I was breaking up a little bit.
No, the title opinion that you submitted, would you kindly just go over the results of that?
Sure. Well, the title report shows that there is the only ownership that abuts Renfrew Street is the Boston Redevelopment Authority, and as I mentioned, the small parcel of land that my client owns. And so it's a pretty clean title report. I was pleased to report. I'm not sure if that is addressing your question or not. I'm having some sound difficulties on this end.
Sure. So in summary, the BPD owns the fee interest in the majority of this land, is that correct?
That's correct. Apologies.
Thank you.
Thank you, Todd, for that clarification. Any further comments or concerns by fellow commission members and or members of PSC staff or today's audience?
No, we're all set with this one.
Great, we will mark you up for a public hearing on December 2nd.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Moving on to the third item of today's agenda, Mina Way, Brighton, establishment of a line and break approval on a petition by WBA 710W LLC. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is James Downing from Howard St. Hudson, project engineers. I'm also joined by George Meoff from Howard St. Hudson and Peter Davos, the applicant from West Brighton Acquisitions. Todd, is it possible to have George become the presenter if possible? He was going to share the plan.
Yes, I believe anybody should be able to share.
Okay. Great. So we're here to present the land graded plan for a new cul-de-sac off Washington Street in the Brighton neighborhood. The purpose of the new cul-de-sac is to provide access to 8 new single-family home lots. The cul-de-sac does meet the Public Works standard for a local street with a 53-foot right-of-way, within which we have a 5-foot wide cement sidewalk and a 4.5-foot furnishing zone, within which we have 8 new public shade trees, street lighting, and also a new fire hydrant. The cul-de-sac is longer than 150 feet. Therefore, we have to provide a turning area for the largest Boston Fire Department's ladder truck. Additional improvements within the public way also include the closure of 3 existing curb cuts along Washington Street that currently service the parcel, and also the reconstruction of the pedestrian ramps at the intersection of Washington Street and Presentation Road. We have received various comments from the various departments. We haven't fully incorporated all those into the plan. However, we have reviewed them. We do not see any of the comments being an issue. They're all kind of minor in nature. We'll certainly have those addressed before we come back to the commission. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that commission members may have.
Thank you, James. At this point, I'll open it up for any comments or concerns by fellow commission members first.
I want to thank the team for incorporating the Disabilities Commission accessibility comments, especially in regards to the crossing at Washington and Presentation Road. Would it be possible to get a copy of this slide in particular? I don't think we received an updated copy of the plan that reflects some of the comments, again, at the intersection of Washington and Presentation, as well as the addition of detectable warning surfaces at Mina Way.
Sure, no problem. We can get that over to you, Sarah.
Great, thank you so much.
I think that we had a similar comment about, the crossing across Mina here at Washington and it being a raised crossing, but we can provide the appropriate standards, right? Like it wouldn't be a crosswalk. This would look like a continuous sidewalk across the end of Mina Way. So the markings and stuff are one thing, but it should read more continuous cement concrete.
Gotcha, understood. Yep.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Amy. Any further comments by fellow commission members? James, I need you to do a little bit of sort of groundwork here. I recognize the fact that you looked at the public works standards that are on our websites. Our minimum right of way, especially the one that comes up at 53 feet, those were designated for a through street and may not be completely applicable for a dead-end cul-de-sac of this nature. Okay, so hopefully it doesn't unravel too much. I'm of the opinion that it could be a little bit smaller. It doesn't need to be the full 53. So could you please connect with Mr. Zach Bosman of my team through Mr. Liming to see what would be more applicable for a street of this nature. I'm concerned about how the street is going to be used by those that are living on the cul-de-sac. As you all may gather, many houses that live on cul-de-sacs, they tend to use the cul-de-sac itself as a playpen, I should say like that, at an area where the children they might play, and this may be a little bit too big, even though these dimensions are within our guidelines. So I just want to marry a bit of engineering judgment with the guidelines, if I'm making any sense to you, James.
Certainly, yeah, I can reach out to Zach and coordinate with Todd as well, certainly.
Yeah, all it's going to do is just shrink this whole layout a little bit smaller, which might give more room to the individual properties.
Yep, understood.
Okay, and if you could do that thing and adjust the plans accordingly, not to discount any of the comments that were made as to the pedestrian path of travel on the sidewalk along Washington Street. You might find those common to both conversations. Okay?
Yep. Understood. Thank you.
At this point, any questions by PIC staff or members of today's audience?
The one question that I do have, and I'm just noticing it now, I don't know if there will need to be a stop sign here at this intersection with Washington Street, but if there is, that tree may have to go. But that's not my call. Yep, understood. We can look into that for you, Todd, and confirm.
Again, James, just switch it to the opposite side so you can get the tree and the stop sign.
Yep.
Okay, so hearing no further comments, we'll mark it up for 2 weeks. That should be December 2nd.
Yep, that should work for us.
Wonderful. Thank you. Fourth item on today's new business agenda, 1 through 19, Macon Street, Devonset Avenue, Dorchester, grant of location on a petition by Verizon New England, Inc. Good morning. Do we have a representative from Verizon New England today?
Good morning. My name is James. I'm a contractor for Verizon. I am representing Karen Lewek and Verizon on this petition request. Verizon is petitioning. Actually, hold on. Let me share my screen. So Verizon is petitioning to place conduit 327 feet from a manhole 13/91 at the intersection of Deponsit and Macon Street. They're proposing to place conduit running down Macon Street to a existing telco conduit intercept. The reason for the work is to provide new services to 19 Macon Street. If anyone has any questions.
Thank you. Any questions by commission members?
I'd just like to double check that there's no conflict with any on-street accessible parking spaces in the area, and that if there are, that if we can keep track of them during construction and coordinate with my office with any potential relocations. That's it.
Yep, I will make a note of that, make sure that Karen and Verizon know about the accessible parking spaces.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Any further comments for Mr. Ward? From PIC staff or members of today's audience?
No, we're all set with this.
We'll mark you up for 2 weeks. That should be December 2nd of this year. James, will you be representing the next 4 items for New England?
Yes, I will.
Okay,
Yep.
people. Next item number 5, 72 King Street, Adams Street, Dorchester, grant of location on a petition by Verizon New England Inc.
Yep, on this petition request, Verizon is petitioning to place new conduit from manhole 11/466 at the intersection of Adams Street and King Street. They're looking to place the conduit down King Street to an existing exonet handhole that's located in the concrete sidewalk in front of 72 King Street. And the purpose of this request is to provide new services to King Street. If anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to take them.
When you say services to King Street, does that mean that there may be other lateral cuts coming off that manhole, or it's not very clear? Is it for a specific interest or multiple units?
No, the only location that we'd have services placed would be to 72 King Street.
Thank
It would
you.
be to this handhole, yes.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Ward?
Same comment as the last petition. I do have written in my notes that there is an accessible on-street parking space along this route. So if you could just coordinate with my office to ensure that that space is keeping track of during construction, that would be appreciated.
Absolutely, not a problem.
Any comments by PIC staff or members of today's audience?
No, James, would you just state the length of this cut, please?
Yeah, the length of this cut is 421 feet. And I'm not sure if I got the first one, but the first one is 327 feet.
You got the first one, missed this one. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. We'll mark this thing up for 2 weeks, which would be December 2nd. Item number 6, 80 Talbot Avenue, 19 Gale Street, Dorchester, grant of location on a petition by Verizon New England Inc.
On this request, Verizon is proposing 658 feet of new conduit to be placed from pole 14 located near 104 Nightingale. The new conduit is going to be placed first down Nightingale and then making the lateral down Talbot Street. The conduit will extend to an existing exonet handhole in the concrete sidewalk on the opposite side of 80 Talbot Street. If anyone has any questions?
Reason for the cut is you're serving whom?
This will be serving new services on Talbot Street. So we're going to be placing the terminal to the handhole, and this will in turn provide services to nearby residents on Talbot Street.
Jim, could you do me a favor for the public hearing, if you could bring to us a recent photograph of the condition of Talbot Street's roadway conditions? Memory escapes me whether that's a new road or whether it's cut up to infinity. Something tells me maybe a little bit nicer. Just want to understand the ramifications of your cut and for how long is the cut on Talbot?
The cut for this one is 658 feet. The typical diameter width of it is going to be 2 feet, and I believe it's 1 foot depth. I'm not 100% sure on that. I have to double check. But Verizon has made plans to complete and restore the roadways to their original state to a level that is acceptable to the city of Boston and the Department of Public Works.
Thank you, James. Any comments by commission members? Hearing none. Comments by PSC staff, members of today's audience?
Just a point of clarification, I believe, I may be wrong, but I believe this is actually servicing a DAS node at that street light, not a private service connection. James, if you could just confirm that for the public hearing.
I can. This only says for our request that it's saying that to provide new services on Talbot Street. I don't have a specific customer that it will be serving.
Okay. Yeah, just get us that information, please, if you don't mind.
Yes, I will. Yep.
Hearing no further comments, we'll mark you up for 2 weeks. That should be December 2nd. Seventh item, 53 Lonsdale Street, Dorchester Avenue, grant of location on a petition by Verizon New England Inc.
Yes, on this request, Verizon is proposing 786 feet of new conduit to be placed from a manhole 11/60 at the intersection of Dorchester Ave and Wells Ave. The conduit will be placed first down Dorchester Ave, then making a lateral cut down Lonsdale Ave to, I believe it's another Xnet handhole. Yes, that's has already been placed in the concrete sidewalk at the front of 53 Lonsdale Street. And this cut and width diameter should be the same as the other cuts that we were proposing. And the purpose of this is to provide new services on Lonsdale Street. The terminal will be placed at the shared handhole. Are there any questions?
At the risk of sounding like a broken record, we do have 3 accessible parking spaces along this route. So again, just coordination with our office would be appreciated.
Yep, not a problem.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, James. James, just so that to echo Sarah's comments, if you can also make us comment of that nature on the plan sheets itself, so that way we have a documented transmittal of information going from these plan sheets to your contractor in case if it becomes an issue. Okay, so
yep,
just
no problem.
comment as a blanket comment from Sarah's field. All right. Any comments by PSC staff or members of today's audience?
No, all set.
We'll mark you up for 2 weeks for December 2nd. Last item on today's agenda, 438 Geneva Avenue, Dorchester, grant of location on a petition by Verizon New England.
Yep, so Verizon is petitioning to place 405 feet new conduit from a manhole 11/79. This is at the intersection of Geneva Ave and Charles Street. The new conduit is going to be placed down Geneva Ave to an Xnet handhole that's already in place in the sidewalk at the intersection of Josephine Street and Geneva Ave. And purpose of this work is to provide new services to number 438 Geneva Ave. Are there any questions?
James, I think if my memory serves me correctly, this including the last 3 to 4 petitions which you just testified in front of today's commission. They were connecting external systems to your telecommunication systems. Is that correct?
That's correct, yep.
Right.
We're going to be placing...
Is there a bigger picture which the commission members need to be cognizant of, because we just like to be understanding of what the bigger picture is, because we seem to be approving these telecommunication systems in bits and pieces, and then we all connect stuff. When I say you, the industry seems to connect stuff, and the asset that gets compromised from a public's perspective is our streets. So if there's a bigger picture which we need to see, I would truly appreciate that you bring that to us as the bigger picture rather than bits and pieces. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. So in these trenches, they're going to be placing one 4-inch SCH40 PVC, and that will be for Verizon use. And to go along with that in the trench, there's going to be a 4-inch quad duct, which is comprised of 4 1.25-inch interducts, city's shadow. And I believe that this is what Verizon is enabling the connection for Xnet to reach their services, for Xnet to connect to the manholes.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate that point of clarification and or amplification. Any comments by fellow commission members? Hearing none. Any comments by PSC staff or members of today's audience?
No, all set.
Jim will mark you up for 2 weeks. That should be December 2nd. That concludes the business of today's hearings. I'd like to hear a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We adjourn. Everyone have a safe day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Record.